Or we can use the compound interest formula, which is amount equals principal times 1 plus our rate divided by n raised to the n t. Each of these stand for P, principal. R is our rate, that didn't change. N is the number of times compounded. And T is our number of years. So, same thing we're doing here, but we just have to kind of be careful because some of our numbers might be a little strange at first. But once you see the process, once you see the pattern, it's really not too difficult. And this lets you say, okay, well, same problem, and find what it'll be after 10 quarters a lot quicker. So let's do the last few this way. All right, so we're not going to fill out this whole table. You can if you want, but some things to know. Quarterly, remember, is 1 out of 4. Or if you're using this new formula, that's n equals 4, n equals 12, n is 2, n is 4, n is 1, and n is 12. Remember, n is the number of times it gets compounded. If we're talking about the first period, well, you've gone 1/4 of the way through the year. Same thing here. If we're looking at our second, you've gone 2/4 of the year. So notice the number here and the number here are the same. And this are the same. Well, if we're looking at our first month, that's 1/12. Second month is 2/12 for our time. Semi-annually, 1/2, 2/2. Quarterly, 1/4, 2/4. Annually, 1, because it's 1 year. And yearly, 2. Monthly, this would be 1/12. Yearly, this would be, not yearly, second month would be 2/12. Now, just for fun, if we had, for example, daily, your n would be 365, because if it's daily, it's going to happen 365 times. This would be 1 out of 365, and this would be 2 out of 365. All right, so let's look at this and let's see why, if we can figure out all of our parts, this formula is just a little faster. So, Alicia's savings account has a principal of $1,200. It earns 6% compounded quarterly for 2 quarters. And we're going to change some of these answers just to make them a little more interesting. Okay, so amount equals principal times 1 plus r over n raised to the nt. I like to write out everything we have. So principal is 1,200. Our rate is 6% or 0.06. N, the number of times it happens, is 4 because it's being compounded quarterly. And our time is 2/4. All right, so here we go. Amount equals 1,200 times 1 plus 0.06 divided by 4 raised to the 4 times 2 divided by 4. Now, to make this part happen in your calculator, if you're using anything other than a calculator, you're going to use x to the y. If you're using a calculator, you're going to use what's called the caret. So let's go ahead. Let's type this into Google Calculator. All right, so remember, we want to use our x to the y. Use your x to the y, and there we go. And we get $1,236.27. Okay. Now, let's look at the next one. So let's change it to compounded monthly. And we're going to do it for 8 months. So your principal, $5,725. Your rate, 4% or 0.04. If it's compounded monthly, that's a 12. And since we're doing it for 8 months, that's 8 out of 12. So our amount is 5,725 times 1 plus 0.04 divided by 12, raised to 12 times 8 divided by 12. My goodness, that is one ugly 12. I apologize. All right, so we're going to type that into Google Calculator. I keep wanting to say Google Calendar. I apologize. All right, so here we go. 5,725 times 1 plus 0.04 divided by 12 raised to the 12 times 8 divided by 12. We get 5,879.46. Don't forget to round to the cents. All right, let's look at two more. I'm going to do it just a little bit faster. So, compounded, let's say daily, for 4 years. Now, here's where we have to be careful because this one's just a little different. Your principal, $9,855. Your rate, 0.06. Daily means it happens 365 times, but our T is 4. Because remember, your time is in years. This is happening for 4 years. So here we go. Our amount, 9,855 times 1 plus 0.06 divided by 365 raised to the 365 times 4. All right, we're going to go ahead and plug that into Google Calculator, not Google Calendar. Google Calendar is not going to help us here. All right, so we go 9,855 times 1 plus 0.06 divided by 365 raised to the 365 times 4. All right, answer $12,527.91. And there we go. That's kind of everything. Key thing, remember, this is in years. The reason this one is 4 and not like 4 out of 365 is because we're talking about 4 years. This one's 8/12 because we're talking about 8/12 of a year. We haven't even done a single year yet. And don't forget, your N is always how many times is it compounded. Daily, that's why it's 365. And that's compound interest. So again, formula is a little bit faster, but you have to know just a little bit more. So,